please like and subscribe.
Let's just get right into your project, Don. And
Sure.
once again,
Should we
thanks.
segue and talk about the Grove reflections?
Yeah, actually,
Oh,
let's
that
let's
was a
start with
segue.
that. So, one of the
Yeah.
questions we get a lot is, "Hey, what happened to the Grove Reflections?" Like, I was one of the people that bought in early, whatever it was, but I haven't received those. What kind of update can you tell people about the
Sure.
Grove
Uh,
Reflections?
It's very simple. So, like, we have a snapshot. So we have the holders and the amounts that they need, right? Of Grove. The initial problem, like we were trying to reflect 8 different tokens, right? So this one token specifically to reflect, and I think at the time it was like 80 grand, maybe 100 grand at the
Yeah.
time, at the current price, it would have cost us $70,000 to distribute it. And it's because of the cost per user that's being transacted. I think the cost was like $3 and something cents to send tokens to a single user.
Hmm.
So it was extremely expensive to send out. So, I, contacted Carlo and John and I was like, hey, can you guys help us with this? And they were like, yeah, sure, we can help you. Just send us a list of, everybody that we needed to send it to. So obviously, like I had to go to someone else, right? Our developer at the time and say, hey, can you get this list for us? Took them a while to get the list, but we still got the list. We sent it to John. John was just like like the formatting on the list is wrong and it's not pulling up the correct value. So sent it back. Then we got him the right list with the right value. But by the time he got the list with the right value, we had decided it would be better just to distribute Grove Coin instead of the token. And one of the benefits is that like we don't actually have to use their resources to distribute it. We can distribute it ourselves
Okay. So
because of the
who?
gas efficiency.
Yeah.
So
No.
which holders will get that? What the snapshot was taken? Which holders will get
At
that
the time that the
reflection?
distribution was happening, it's only for the holders that should have received the reflections at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're speaking on reflections. So that list has changed from day one
Correct.
to now. So can you kind of take us behind the scenes on why and
Sure.
how that looks?
Yeah. So some of the decisions were because of information we got about the project. We want to reflect projects that we think are going to be here for a while. So if we get some information and we think that, we shouldn't, and we lose faith in that project, then we don't reflect them anymore. So like that's one of the criteria. Another criteria is, does it fit our ecosystem? So if the project isn't necessarily fitting our ecosystem, and also it's getting really competitive, right? So we're getting approached all the time by projects who want to be on the list. So we're constantly having to reevaluate, would this project be better than this project? Would this project be better than this project? And then additionally, 2 of the slots are for our mirror protocol tokens. So the mirror protocol is extremely important, but we get to create a mechanism for not only feeding into mirror protocol ecosystem, but mirror protocol ecosystem feeding back into BBTF with that cycle. So
Okay, so can you give us the updated list of what you're reflecting today?
yeah, sure. So off the top of my head, SafeMoon, mirror protocol BNB. The MP2 slot will rotate between all the mirror protocols once those are all out. Um, but it's locked at mirror protocol BTC right now. Uh, Glow, um, let's see,
Ever
Meta BUSD, Ever Reflect, and
something coin. Come on, Holly. What is it called?
oh, Reflecto.
Yes, Reflecto.
And Reflecto is pretty cool. So like you can go into like if you have Reflecto in your wallet, you can go into the Reflecto DApp and then you can be like, okay, Reflecto, I want, Binance Peg Bitcoin as a reflection, or I want BBTF as a reflection, or I want so you can go with that one token and choose what you want reflecting. And then like yeah, our part of it is reflecting specific tokens.
I love that concept just because there are some things that I'm like, I it's not I don't get enough for something to actually keep it in my wallet, right? So I'm all for, everything that I'm getting through BBTF. But I was actually going to ask you if you were ever going to pivot to where we can select what tokens we'd rather have, over another one. And no disrespect to any of the projects, because especially the ones that reflect. So I was just curious about that because I have been asked.
Yeah, so we've discussed that multiple times. It's just in terms of the design that we're going after. Like the question is that a design of BBTF or is that another project that has that design? Specifically that auto diversification feature, whether it be through mirror protocol staking or just through the BBTF token, like we kind of want to keep that. And I feel like a lot of people and they can do it like under that kind of paradigm would maybe do BUSD or BNB. It would get the benefit of like what is auto diversification.
You run into a little issue though with those tokens, don't you? Though, if they don't get that exposure of the reflection, because isn't that part of the reason why they want to be a part of your ecosystem?
Is because of the reflections and the holders and the volume on their charts.
So if nobody picked their coin, then the attractiveness,
reflecting,
would kind of. So I could see both sides of that for sure.
Right.
But just as we move on, let me ask you one more question about the tokens that you reflect. Is it fair to say that if you decided to go with a different token or take one off of your list, that it's not always because of something bad happened?
It's not always because something bad happens.
Okay. So because
sometimes it's just a business decision.
Yeah. So I think sometimes people always go, oh, well, they took that coin off or that token off because there's infighting or something bad's going on, because everybody always goes to that extreme. And sometimes I'm like, maybe it's just not a good fit.
And anyone that you ask, like I honestly try to be as professional as possible in any business engagement. So if there is a disengagement with the business, it's not my intention to burn bridges. So as a result, even in that situation, it sucks that our design kind of necessitates that, when we're changing our reflection token, that, there is some type of disengagement with the token, but that's inevitable with the design of the token. It shouldn't necessarily lead to any type of speculation of, negative infighting or anything like that.
Okay. And I would agree. And I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that, just because social media gets on fire sometimes and people run down rabbit holes, and it's like it doesn't always have to be one extreme or the other, so
correct.
Right.
Speaking of that too, you're fully automated on the reflections now, is that correct?
That is correct. So we have what's called a gas station. So that gas station receives gas from MPBNB, and I'll talk a little bit about that specifically. Sure. So the gas that we get from MPBNB feeds the gas to cycle through reflections. So whenever there's a transaction, you'll see reflections running. We're trying to stay away from, taking BNB from the development or marketing wallet and sending it to that wallet to push it through. And we're really focusing on building out the rest of the mirrors and the mirror protocol ecosystem, because the MP's gas, or in the tax structure of the MP, it's going to feed the gas for BBTF. That'll keep it rolling. But additionally, the liquidity injection operation contract will be contributing to the gas station as well. So we're just building a whole ecosystem around contributing to that gas station, because it's, in my opinion, what I would like to see is that gas station feeding more than just the distributions.
Okay. Now, with that being said, is there any other reflections that are still owed to holders, or is it just the Grove?
So there is about maybe $40 of TXS that's sitting in a wallet to be distributed. We have to go out and manually distribute it, but we have the snapshot for it. And that's the only thing that's I guess pending in terms of like our manual requirement to send out reflections. Um, and we already have the snapshot. If people are owed it, then they'll get it.
Okay.
In terms of if you have pending reflections, most of the times if you see someone online say, "Hey, I haven't received my reflections," or you're like, "Where are my reflections at?" It's probably because they have $20 or $10 or $5 in BBTF. And the reason why is because in order to trigger your reflections, your rewards have to be built up enough that they can pay for your gas to distribute them. So if you don't have enough rewards built up to trigger the gas to send them, then you haven't gotten your reflections yet. So that's one thing. And then number two, in terms of people that do have pending rewards and they want to go see the balances of those pending rewards, we created dashboard.bbtftoken.com. You can go in, put your wallet address, you can see what your pending rewards are. And if you just want to trigger your distribution, you can go into BSC scan and just pay your gas and get your rewards. But again, you would most likely in that scenario be paying more gas than your rewards are worth.
So is that a tool that is out right now? Because I feel like I have heard nothing about this.
Dashboard.bbtftoken.com.
Yes. Is it
it's live right now.
Holy crap. Okay. That's something I need to incorporate.
It's really cool. Yeah. So you put your wallet address in. And here, is it okay if I share my screen on this?
Sure.
If you want, yeah.
Yeah. So can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just took a random transaction from the chart, and you literally put your wallet address in. You can see our volume for the past 60 minutes, past 6 hours, and the past 24 hours. You can see our total holder count. You can see the number of transactions over a 24-hour period. And then you can see our reward pool balance, right? So, and this shows you all the tokens that we have. And obviously I'm gonna have to replace that one since that doesn't exist anymore. But those two things are identical because they sent us this in replace of this when that merge happened. And then we also have ever reflect. These reward pools, so notice all these tokens have some mechanism of reflection in them. So for example, Meta BUSD reflects in BUSD. That's where this reward pool injection thing comes in. So we will get the BUSD, the contract will convert it to BNB, and then it will sit in this rewards pool waiting to inject liquidity into the token.
Okay.
So and
I feel like I should have known about this. Like I'm like in awe a little bit right now.
Yeah, and then so this is a different wallet than the wallet that we're currently holding the staking rewards tokens in because we wanted that to be behind a multi-sig and protected. But when staking goes live, you'll see this balance daily get updated from the volume, the percentage that goes to staking that are ready to be put into the staking rewards pool. And then also you can see all your pending rewards right here. So this person at this wallet has 2100 Safe Moon, 91 MPBNB, 5 BTC, and yeah, so and then I have to get BUSD up here too. So that'll go through an update, but yeah, this is already live, ready. And
how long has this been live? I feel like I'm like seriously like so confused right now. Why I don't know about this?
I think I released it on Christmas.
Oh.
Okay, so in my defense, I have been MIA because, family, and I've had my little brother from Texas come, and so I've been away from Twitter. So, okay, I guess
don't beat yourself
that makes sense.
Yeah, so
but
I thought I read something
I need to
on
incorporate it.
Yeah, I thought I read something on it, but I tried to go back and look for it. I couldn't find it. So, yeah, I knew it was out there, but I couldn't remember where I saw it or when I saw it.
We didn't know that. Yeah, we hadn't
So,
talked about
Don, let me ask you a question about those tokens that you no longer reflect in. When that happens, will you convert those to something else? Or are you going to go ahead and send those tokens to those wallets and zero that out? Does that make sense?
Um, you're talking about the rewards pool?
Yeah.
So the rewards pool is a specific part of the BBTF contract. It's like included in the taxes. So 2% of every transaction contributes to the rewards pool. So we're always increasing our size in the tokens that show up in the rewards pool. Um, as a result, like the goal of it is to essentially take large positions in tokens that reflect and then take those reflections that we're getting from those tokens and always feed liquidity to the charts. Theoretically, what you could see is the liquidity increasing absent volume on the BBTF charts because of the rewards pool function. And it's one of the most difficult components of our ecosystem to explain. So we made a very simple video about it, and it's on our YouTube channel. You can go watch it. I think it's called BBTF Growth Rewards Pool Explained.
That's a good title.
a little on the nose there.
So you kind of brought it up with your dashboard that you just shared with everybody, but staking has been something that you guys have been talking about for a little while.
Correct.
What can you share with us about that, or if
Sure.
anything? Because I know
So-
people, that's like a hot button topic right now with not
Yeah.
just your token, but everyone is talking about staking.
I'm excited to see what the next hot button topic is after staking is released.
Me too.
But so our staking is different than a lot of other tokens, completely different. We have volume-based rewards. So on every sell transaction, I believe 3% of the sell transactions contributes tokens to for rewards that for people that are staking. But additionally, we built up a lot of rewards over the time because the staking pool wasn't present. So like all of those previous tokens that have built up will also be released to people that are in a staking period. So what you'll see is like, let's just assume the volume stays equal, right? So this is assuming volume doesn't change. At the beginning of the staking pool life cycle, we're going to dump a lot of tokens into the staking pool. So there'll be a lot of rewards at the beginning of the life cycle, but as it goes on, it's the rewards are going to be completely reliant on the volume of the BBTF token. But also the staking pool will increase from people entering and exiting. So the pool. So
Yeah, and so along with that, along with the other ones too, volume has a lot to do with it. So, and right now, volume pretty much across the board is pretty low. I mean, compared to where it has been in the past. And I don't just mean with BBTF, but just in general.
it's been down everywhere.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when that increases, then we're going to see some things kick in with your token that I think maybe will make it easier for everybody to see how it works. Right? When there's not much volume, it's hard to see the mechanism in the machine turning. But
Correct.
Would you agree with that, or
No, I
how do
would
you see that?
definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And what we're trying to build and some of the things that we're coming out, our goal is to create an ecosystem that's market agnostic, meaning that we're not necessarily tied to other market trends. Primarily, that refers to what we do for marketing, how and marketing or promotions. Like that's pretty much. So how many more new people can we bring into the BBTF ecosystem? And if BBTF becomes an entry point for people into DeFi, then obviously our volume would be detached from the market as a whole, right? Because there will be new entrants every day and they're entering through BBTF. So the goal is to make BBTF appealing enough in the message, diversify everyone everywhere, get the message out. So TV commercial and production, Mobiquity advertising, another ad thing or tech that's going to be coming out, our aligner platform, like through mechanisms like that, we can become the entry point into DeFi.
Okay. Really, one of my last questions for you, and it's kind of a general question, but I don't remember exactly when it was, but you kind of made the public decision to kind of go a little bit silent on social media.
Correct.
Can you, as a CEO, can you kind of talk us through that decision-making process? And has it been good or has it been bad?
It's actually like for me personally, it's been great. So not only am I silent, I just stay off of it a lot. The reason why is because, you know, you have the people that love BBTF and then you have the people that just absolutely hate BBTF. Now the thing is like just imagine you're sitting there, you're working and you're trying to push, and then like conspiracy theorists come out of the woodwork, you know, about your project, or there's someone who's saying they could do your project better than you, right? That really doesn't feel good personally, right? Especially when, like me personally, you know, someone goes into a, you know, Twitter space. You guys know which Twitter space I'm talking about, and then they say, you know, I wish Don could commit suicide, you know,
Yeah.
or you know, someone else publicly doxing my phone number and address. It's that type of stuff that makes me not want to be on Twitter, because you know it can be discouraging to the creative process if you just like labor on that issue and everything. So moving away from Twitter kind of helped me like more emotionally, in terms of like if I want to be creative and get my work done, I'm less concerned about, you know, what those specific people are saying. You know, but and then pretty much like I just talked about, you know, there are a ton of projects that their only marketing tools are Twitter, Discord, Telegram, right? Or Reddit. I removing myself from Twitter forced me to conceptualize new methods to get the message out about BBTF. So if I can't rely on Twitter for messaging, like what do I do? And this is when we start, you know, getting it out of the Twitter token kind of ideology and moving it into a token that, you know, is actually going to have commercials, you know, is actually, you know, like creating an ideal customer profile or an avatar, as some people say it, and then identifying methods to send the message to that, you know, ICP.
And in the process, though, I mean, you're a smart guy, so you kind of probably realize that there would be some people that would take that personally, that you abandoned them and you're not talking to them anymore. But I'm with you on the fact that I don't know how anybody could do any job, whether it's a token, whatever it is, and if you constantly just have people slamming you the entire time, it would kill my motivation personally. I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't try to put us in the same boat here because what we do is completely different. But as this thing is starting to build up that we're doing here, we get more and more negative feedback. Like,
Right.
it's like, wait a second, we're just trying to provide another outlet here. Where is this negativity coming from? I can
Exactly.
only imagine what it's like if people are telling you that you need to commit suicide or doxing your phone number and address.
Yeah. It's
That's another
yeah.
level.
And it's like, so in my opinion, like I should have given less credit to it, because the people that are doing it, they do it to everyone. They have no good stuff to say about anything. The only things that they have said good stuff about have been rug pulls, you know. So you know, I should have, you know, in the moment been like brushed it off, but you know, it takes growth under that environment to like know how to deal with that situation moving forward. And also like in politics, it's like 100 times worse. So I should have been prepared.
Well,
So
but not only that, it would be way easier to do it if everyone on whatever platform we're talking about was just that way. But even like us, we've met some really good people through Twitter, right? We
great
didn't really
people.
start in Twitter
Yeah.
until like the summer. And so there's good and there's bad, but at some point everybody's got to come to the decision of, do I keep continuing? So
Correct.
moving away from the Twitter, I saw that you came out with a video. I don't remember. It wasn't very long ago, a couple weeks ago, kind of explaining things. Can we expect more of that moving forward?
Yes. In terms of the video production that came out explaining the projects, that's going to be my new primary mechanism of communicating.
Okay.
And the reason why is because the video can be edited. We can deliver information in a way that's understandable. But most importantly, the video can be reviewed by legal.
Gotcha. Okay. So as Holly's trying to reconnect here, there she is.
No, we're good.
As she's trying to reconnect here. So when you have those videos, like I'm a guy that really likes the informative type videos, right? Like it's not necessarily Q&A, but you're telling us what, this is probably going to sound bad. I don't mean it to sound bad. What we need to know, not necessarily what we want to know. But moving forward, is there going to be any places that community or holders can ask questions?
We'll have someone in Twitter. We're working on a plan with that right now. So
Okay.
we definitely have something. I still plan on making appearances. Like that's where like I'm still in the Safe Moon Army. So like let's not forget that part. I love the speculation and I love going in spaces and listening. I've gotten so many ideas that we're actually developing just from listening in Twitter spaces. So like I'll still be there. We will have a presence there, just in terms of the direction that we want to grow, and in terms of Twitter scalability. We have to ask ourselves two questions. So one, is there a critical mass in Twitter? Can we grow to a point where we say like this is as high as we can go with Twitter because like new people coming into Twitter like isn't fast enough to sustain like our vision? And if the answer to that, if the answer to is Twitter like the only place where we can get a message out, and if the answer is no, that Twitter isn't the only place you can get a message out, and the second answer is that there's only so many people on Twitter, then there has to be somewhere else, right, that where you can communicate your message to bring more people into your ecosystem. Luckily, the people on Twitter, the people on Reddit, the people in the Safe Moon Army were the first ones into the token. So like, years from now, when we're talking about, like the early days of BBTF and, when BBTF was, had this market cap or had this volume, when we're having those conversations about the early days of it, it's not going to be because like we grew specifically in Twitter. It's going to be because, again, like I said earlier, we were that entry point into DeFi. And if people want to learn about DeFi or figure out like where can they get in or what's the easiest way to get in, it's not going to be on the Twitter space. It's going to be in their homes. It's going to be, in their coffee shops, like while they're browsing on the internet contextually when they're searching what is a Bitcoin, So those are the places where we're going to find those new people to bring them into the ecosystem. And that's what's important to me. And that's where I believe as a CEO of this company, people want my attention to be.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%. Holly, going to say something?
Well, so I was just going to say, so one thing that, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, kind of.
Clearly.
Your connection's not awesome.
Oh, perfect. So basically all I was going to say is I've come to realize that the people in the Twitter spaces are the same group of people that you talk to every day, especially right now. Not a whole lot's going on, right? So my opinion, if you want to get more of a reach out, past ecosystem, you got to tweet out using different words, reach a different community because of algorithms.
Correct. 100%. And then if you look at Mirror Protocol is built to do that inherently, it's inherently built to reach out to the XRP community, to the BTC community, to the BNB community. Like each token inherently does that with the goal of bringing them back into, mirror staking. So that is the function of it, like by design, like 100%.
Yeah.
And then
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and like, this is something that people just don't think about. Like the marketing messaging for like the mirror, like we're not going to go out and just be like, oh, you're an XRP fan, buy XRP on the Binance chain or buy something that can get you XRP, right? That's not, what the marketing message is. It's like you're rallying other communities. You're going to go show the Binance community how strong the XRP community is. Do it with MP XRP, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's Like that's the goal is, and then you can show them the value. It's all about how you message the adoption of your product. Like the product inherently has value because it diversifies you. Like, and we can educate people on the diversification of it. But there are some XRP maxis that just don't, want anything that doesn't have to do with XRP, but they will buy a mirror protocol XRP because it gets them more XRP on the Binance Smart Chain. The Binance Smart Chain is super liquid, but additionally, they can still show support for their community on another um, blockchain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, and going back to your marketing message too, I mean, we've run into that a little bit too. We have, when we're just talking about specifically Twitter, we have like almost 900 followers. But when it comes to our YouTube page, we have almost 7,000 followers. So at some point, you're right that caps out, and I'm sure it's different for whatever business token, whatever we're talking about, YouTube channel, whatever it is. Everybody hits that cap at some point, and you can just look at our numbers to see that the majority of the support that we hear from is not necessarily from Twitter. Like that,
Mm-hmm.
the numbers don't jive. It's 7,000 and it's 800 or 900, but we still have those relationships with people on Twitter, and I've met some great people on Twitter. So no, I think that's very, very smart on your guys' end to see what else is out there and how else you can engage new holders and things like that. So let's take a quick break and see if we can't get Holly back on here.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Before we move on, because she's frozen.
All right.
All right, Don. So now that we have Holly back,
All right. We're back.
yeah, and I think the connection's better than it was before.
Yeah, it is.
To kind of wrap up the interview part of this, I wanted to ask you too, the way that you guys had started with the old development or developer team and the way you're moving forward, what is that kind of looking like in your recruitment and things like that?
Yeah, and so that's perfect. So one thing that we specifically identified, and this kind of morphs into the conversation about leaving Twitter, is our previous history with recruiting developers to work on projects for us is that they're developers and they have reputations on Twitter, right? But also another complexity there is that these guys are developing for multiple projects. And we really wanted a team that was just specifically focused on us and in-house. So we moved our recruitment away from, relationships and into a more professional style recruitment. So we are doing job postings for specific skill sets. The last job posting we did, we netted 206 Solidity developer candidates who are like phenomenal. There are some phenomenal resumes in there. We just interviewed, someone whose previous job history includes Coinbase and Google. There are, developers that came out of the FTX layoffs, some Gemini layoffs. We have some Meta layoffs, some Twitter layoffs. So there's a lot of like front end developers, software engineers, Solidity devs, like people with skills in React and Web3.js. So all the skills that we're looking for people who don't necessarily have a personality attached to their skill, because moving forward, the brand Blockbusters Tech is going to lead the conversation on all things that we're doing. And the only way to allow the brand to kind of take the forefront, and even me personally in my Twitter profile and, like what I'm doing, it's going to come from behind the brand. So if we want the entire team identity to be wrapped in the BBTF brand, we have to start working with people who report to us internally, and aren't necessarily like personalities or building external brands of their own.
So on a follow-up on that too, then when you use that third party or whatever, and you have a task that say should take a day, and they're working on other projects, they may not be able to get to that task for 2 to 3 weeks. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So if they're working internally for you, they can stop what they're doing, working on something that's coming out in say 3 months and knock that out in a day, and there's not as many delays maybe as there has been in the past.
That is correct.
Okay, so that seems like a pretty smart move on your part
Yeah.
to do that.
And like we're diversifying their job tasks, so we don't necessarily just get one Solidity developer. We get 5, and they can all 5 work on different tasks and then review each other's work before sending it up through our internal auditing or reporting it to their lead developer, or at the end of the day, having lead check off on their work and test their work. So
Yeah, and also that makes sense to me in the aspect of that's now a team, and you don't have that third party where maybe one guy doesn't talk to another guy, and if they're working on different things, they can already be thinking about how those things are going to go together down the road. Yeah. So, yeah, that seems like a very smart move.
Yeah, and this is something that maybe with me saying this or speaking this, there can be someone that says, "Oh, well, you should have done that from the beginning," or "Oh, well," you know what I mean? It seems like something that's so simple that you would do it from the beginning, but like if that were true, like development companies wouldn't exist, one. But two, it's something that I personally had to learn through my experience in this space. So the one thing that is super valuable that I believe has continued to grow me as we grow BBTF is my experience. And I think I've had some unique experiences that other projects haven't had the opportunity to have an experience from. And I can tell people my experience, but only living through it, problem solving through it, working with people like Lee, Troy, Nick, like our entire team that we're building around us, Christian, Morgan, Landon, Gotti. Only through working with that team are we able to, conceptualize the best path forward, have a multitude of ideas from different vantage points, and then create a standardized operation if we ever, approach those situations again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I suppose if everything just went easy, every task that you guys did, there wouldn't be as much learning either. Those mistakes that are made, whether it's third-party developers that you use or whether it's something that would happen internally. I think a lot of times we learn a lot more from our mistakes than we do when it just goes easy. So,
from where we're going.
Yeah, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Just like the token, you guys, is the easy part. To create that token, that's the easy part. But to build and grow that token, that is what is hard.
Yeah, that is correct.
That's why you see so many tokens.
Yeah, so many. Oh, and so this is really interesting. If I could just point this out really quickly. When we started our project and, we had the Bitburn acquisition that I won't get into it because legally I cannot. But when we did that, people asked, why did you do it? And I was telling people that we're about to enter into a phase of extreme consolidation, not only in DeFi, but in centralized finance as well. And this is following the same path as the .com boom, right? And that extreme consolidation is going to be all these little projects that started up getting gobbled up by big guys. You're going to see the first ones to move are going to make the most amount of money from their acquisitions, and then acquisition cost is going to go down because projects are going to be less valuable as it goes down. It's going to follow the same trajectory as the .com boom. So, we see these massive layoffs, Binance, going after Voyager. Obviously there was a limited objection by the SEC, but, that's, them, why are you buying this company? Answer that question verbatim. Kind of thing, like why did you want to acquire it for $1 billion? Are you laundering money or not? Like that's what a limited objection is. But we're seeing the market kind of consolidate, and then what happens at the end of that consolidation cycle? Those are going to be the players that's left in the game.
Right. Yeah, and we've been saying that for a long time, right? We just said there's going to be less and less options out there because the ones that are actually performing excuse me, are the ones that are going to rise to the top and be the big players in all of this. Holly, did you have a question to ask?
Yeah, so I feel like I already know the answer to this, but if you had to do it all over again, would you?
Yes.
And is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes.
Okay, go into detail.
If I had to do it over again, I would. I differently, anything I would have done differently is I would have hired a different company to launch our token.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, like I said, I feel like I knew that, but knowing how hard it is to build a project, to, have all these different things come up like the hack and all that, I was just interested to see if like you would do this all again. Most CEOs would say absolutely yes, but you have some that are like, hell no.
Yeah.
But they're already committed, so they have to continue. So
when you find that thing in your life that's like literally giving you energy, you find yourself waking up extra early. Like I'm getting up at 4:30. I usually get up at 4:30, but I'm getting up at 4:30 with more energy. First thing I'm doing is hopping on and then checking the token analytics of all three of the active tokens right now. Checking in dev chats to see what progress is made, looking in on like our shared design docs to see what updates have been done there. Like this literally gives me energy, and like I love it. I absolutely love it. Like I am going to be doing this for a very long time. Not only am I going to be doing this for a very long time, but we're going to thrive. There is one thing that I personally feel confident about, and it's the resiliency that I believe that I have. And under the only outcome that I'm willing to accept here is being one of the most successful tokens, and like I will receive like speaking engagement events and all of that. And this isn't me bragging. This is just like, this is how confident I am in what we're building and how different what we're building is, and how I can leverage like my past connections to bridge it into the blockchain world. Like I haven't even started going through my Rolodex and calling people yet that I'm connected to, because we're still building off our foundation. So I'm really excited about it. And the team that's helping with this vision is so amazing. Like Morgan, you can, explain instructions once and she goes and gets it done. Christian, same thing. Troy just gets out, grinds, like whatever you need done, he's going to do. Like, like our office in Utah, Troy made that come to reality. Now, I would say we have one of the best relationships with SafeMoon, that like our relationship with SafeMoon is at the best point it's ever been. Because of our proximity. I have been on so many more meetings where people are more interested in the conversation now, because like we have a real brick and mortar location. Like we can't go anywhere, right? Like there's an address associated with our token. And that's another thing, when someone wants to, FUD BBTF. Like I don't even want to call it FUD. If any, like people that are criticizing BBTF with their supposed evidence or whatever they have, it's like, and their token that they're promoting, like it's renounced. Like no one's doxed on it. There's no address. There's no identity. Like I'm competing with Ghost for the most part. But we didn't want to do that. We wanted to give it a real brand, a real identity, because like we strongly believe this is going to be one of the players at the end of the consolidation cycle.
So what would you say to people who say that, leasing that office building is a waste of money?
Yeah, I would say I appreciate your input. Our business structure necessitates that we have that office, and it's empirically denied because our next client that is coming on has already paid for the office building. So
that's good.
Well, we appreciate you being so
exciting.
Yeah, and I think the holders will take some confidence in those last few statements that you made too. So we appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else before we move on to our other segments that you want to talk about? Or
I want to
I
talk
feel like
about.
we've covered a lot, but
No,
Yeah,
no.
I didn't want to leave you and you go, oh man, I wish we would have talked about this. So
Right.
yeah. I'll just call you and be like, "Hey, can we add this in?"
edit it
Um,
in. That's just going to make Greg mad.
Oh no.
Don't be very
um,
mad.
Maybe. No.
yeah. So, not necessarily. I don't want to. Um, yeah. Like, I think this was a good conversation, and
Yeah.
I just hope I don't come across as like less of like the outgoing, happy person. Like, I'm really excited about this, and like, it's like we're just at a point where this is like the most real it's ever been, like it's the best time, like, to kind of be in a position that I'm in because like I see what's coming and I'm just like so excited for everybody, but at the same time I just have to keep my head on straight and just like keep marching forward. So I yeah, I think that's a good place to end it.
That's good. Just
Yeah.
keep swimming.
Well, we appreciate it.
I'm Caleb. Please like and subscribe.